Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Smithville, fiber internet, streaming TV, home security, and automation in southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Maller Grodner Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis, lawmg.com. The IU School of Education, preparing teachers, scholars, and administrators to improve teaching in Indiana and around the world. education.indiana.edu. IU Alumni Association, connecting IU's network of alumni and sharing the Indiana spirit through scholarships, advocacy, and volunteerism. alumni.iu.edu. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnership with communities and organizations. rural.indiana.edu. And by WTIU members. Thank you.
Coming up on Indiana Newsdesk. When adults show up to court, they're guaranteed the right to an attorney. But that doesn't happen for children who make their way through the state's welfare system.
Indiana is in the minority in this situation because 30 states do recognize the right for court-appointed counsel for children in these cases.
Ahead, we look at a lawsuit that challenges Indiana's model. An elementary school in East Chicago that closed because of lead contamination is reborn as a church. But there are questions about whether it's as safe as federal officials claim.
I made sure of all those things before we moved into this location. I wasn't going to put people at risk.
And the battle over passing a hate crimes law in Indiana continues, with Governor Holcomb and Republican legislative leaders at odds over the best approach. Those stories, plus the latest news headlines from across the state, right now on Indiana Newsdesk. Welcome to Indiana Newsdesk. I'm Joe Wren. DePaul faculty members say they weren't surprised but disappointed by the announcement this week that the university is cutting dozens of full and part-time positions. As Mary Kate Hamilton reports, it's part of the university's effort to strengthen its financial situation.
The cuts include 56 full-time administrative and staff positions. DePaul will also offer voluntary retirement packages to some faculty members. A letter President Mark McCoy and the Board of Trustees chair sent to the campus says DePaul can't sustain its current number of employees.
That's been the problem with our institution over the years, is maybe we've been hesitant to make the tough decisions financially that needed to have been made 10, 15, maybe even 20 years ago to avoid getting to the point where, it drops like a ton of bricks.
The layoffs come just a few months after faculty approved a vote of no confidence in McCoy, citing financial stability as one of their concerns.
I think it's really hard to tell at this point whether he has managed those things all as well as could have been or not. And I guess we have to be in a position now where we say time will tell.
In the letter, McCoy writes he thinks the strategic steps are right and necessary, ensuring that DePaul can build upon its success for generations to come.
Mary Kate joins us for a little bit more. Can you tell us a little bit about that vote of confidence that was taken about President McCoy?
Yeah, so the vote of no confidence was passed by the faculty late last year. And one of the biggest concerns that they cited were the lack of financial stability. And obviously that is kind of coming to the forefront right now. But it was the first time in DePaul University history that they had ever passed a vote of no confidence for their president.
Mm-hmm. So now what came of that vote?
Well, the vote really had no power, but it sent a message to the Board of Trustees, and that's what the faculty was trying to get across. Obviously now President has taken some financial action, but the professor that I spoke to said that there are even bigger questions that DePaul now has to deal with, including how they keep their university relevant and how they market themselves to prospective students, and all of those things. So there's more to come.
All right. Thank you very much, Mary Kate.
Thank you.
A federal lawsuit says 3 Indiana counties are violating children's constitutional rights by not providing them legal representation in welfare cases. As Barbara Brozier reports, the case could have statewide implications.
When the state removes a kid from a home because of abuse or neglect, they're declared a child in need of services. As the case makes its way through the court system, the state of Indiana, and often the child's parents, get an attorney. But the kid only gets a CASA, or court-appointed special advocate. A lawsuit filed against Marion, Lake, and Scott counties says that's not enough.
When you consider what's at stake here, the court is deciding where a child will live, with whom that child will live, where they will go to school, whether they will be separated from their siblings. These are major life decisions that affect the liberty interests of the child.
The lawsuit says that's why it's essential. Kids also have lawyers to represent them in court. Delaney says the exploding number of CHINS cases in the state, which have doubled since 2012, give the issue an increased sense of urgency.
One of our clients moved upwards of 20 times in 3 years. Which is just crazy.
While the lawsuit only names 3 counties, its outcome could affect all CHINS cases in the state. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Barbara Brozier.
The attorneys want this to be a class action lawsuit representing more than 5,000 children. The court has yet to decide on that motion. A church has moved into an old school in East Chicago that was closed due to the lead crisis. The Carrie Ghosh Elementary School building is in the USS Lead Superfund site, which has soil contaminated with lead and arsenic. As Rebecca Thiel reports, East Chicago residents are worried about churchgoers' safety.
Less than a week before kids were supposed to come back from summer break in 2016, the district decided to close Carrie Ghosh Elementary. Superintendent Paige McNulty says there was lead and arsenic-contaminated soil in the neighborhood and at a corner of the property.
The residents were concerned, and I would be too as a mom, about my kids walking across the soil and then coming into the building and it being on their feet, on their shoes.
With the exception of a few Environmental Protection Agency offices, the building sat vacant for about 2 years. But Pastor Don Ramirez saw the old school building as the right place to move his congregation.
It was just an opportunity that presented itself, and there was more space, and we were running out of room at our current location, and we took the opportunity.
So, with permission from the district, the church moved here into the old Carrie Ghosh School in November. But that left residents wondering, if the school was closed due to lead, how can the building be safe enough for a church? Calumet resident Clemay Bullock is a teacher and co-organizer for the group Calumet Lives Matter.
There should not be children there in that building in the way it's currently being used.
And Bullock says if the building is safe, why wasn't it opened up to let the community decide what's to be done with it? The Environmental Protection Agency says only a small portion of the site near what's now the church parking lot has high levels of contamination, and it plans to clean that up in the spring. As for the building itself, the EPA told Pastor Ramirez it's safe.
I made sure of all those things before we moved into this location. I wasn't going to put people at risk.
Many residents would like to see recent EPA test results for lead and arsenic at Carrie Ghosh. But the school district decides who can see them. We reached out to the district, but it didn't respond to our request for the data.
It is unclear when the last time testing has been done at that property.
Debbie Chisower represents East Chicago residents affected by the USS Lead site. She says when the EPA demolished the West Calumet public housing complex next door, that could have spread contamination onto the Carrie Ghosh property. And unlike the rest of that portion of the USS Lead site, the cleanup plan for Carrie Ghosh hasn't been updated since. The company that monitored the contamination at the demolition site of the housing complex, Americo Engineering, says there were no detectable levels of lead, arsenic, or asbestos in the air during that time. Still, without the data, there's no way to show whether or not the Carrie Ghosh property is safe. And even if the old school grounds are safe now, Chisower is unsure it will stay that way once the EPA starts excavating contaminated soil where the housing complex once stood.
There's nothing that prevents contaminated materials from blowing from that site over to the Ghosh property.
At a public meeting in November, the EPA's Doug Bellotti says the agency does have protections to make sure the contamination doesn't spread, and it will test along the way.
Yeah, we've got protections that we have planned, very similar to what happened when they actually did the demolition of the housing project.
But Chisower says it's unclear if the protections the EPA has in mind for the Carrie Ghosh property will be enough to keep people attending the Cross Church safe.
Does Jesus make you happy?
Pastor Don Ramirez is ready to move on. He says it's time to stop focusing on the contamination and start looking at the future.
What can we do to make a difference and keep moving forward and making East Chicago a great place, because that's what it is. It's a great community.
The EPA declined to be interviewed about the Cross Church. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Rebecca Thiel.
Coming up on Indiana Newsdesk. 6 years after first debating hate crimes legislation, lawmakers are still trying to craft a bias crimes law that works for Indiana. And flooding on the White River is preventing officials from lowering the water levels on Lake Monroe as quickly as they'd like. These stories and more right here on Indiana Newsdesk.
The WTIU WFIU news team connects Indiana to the world. We bring you the top news of the day on radio, TV, and online. We round up the stories that have people talking each week and dig deep into the issues that affect your community the most. The WTIU WFIU news team is where you are and telling your story.
In a time of change, where can you find in-depth reporting and thoughtful analysis? Washington Week on PBS. Join moderator Robert Costa.
When I was at the Capitol this week, I encountered the same.
And a panel of award-winning journalists.
You're seeing a divided nation, and you're seeing.
For insights and perspective.
Tonight there was a key development in the
Senate. You won't find anywhere else.
What a week.
Washington Week.
Welcome back to Indiana Newsdesk. Now for headlines, we go over to Barbara Brosier, who has the latest on this week's top stories.
Thanks, Joe. Indiana's governor, at least in part, is blaming himself for the legislature's failure to pass a hate crimes bill so far with a list of victim characteristics. Governor Eric Holcomb says he probably should have stressed more strongly to the public how important it is to adopt a hate crimes law that includes a list of specific protected traits. Last week, Republicans removed that language from the bill and replaced it with the words including bias. As Tyler Lake reports, that move pitted them directly against the governor.
This session's hate crime bill originally included a list of victim characteristics, including race, religion, and gender identity. But Senate Republicans took it out, and House GOP leaders don't support adding it back in.
I understand the advocates' desire for a list. I really believe that there needs to be discussion of compromise in that regard and still have a bill that covers everyone, including those that are desired to be on the list.
But Holcomb says a bill without a list isn't good enough, and he wants Hoosiers to get involved.
They need to contact the legislators that vote their legislator respectfully and appeal to their hearts and minds.
Democratic lawmakers are joining Holcomb in their call for members of the community, especially business leaders, to speak out about the bill.
If there's something that business organizations have tried to get done in the past, they've been pretty successful.
Yes.
So if they put the time and effort into it, I think we can get it done.
And Bosma says he started getting calls over the weekend from many of the state's top CEOs, urging him to support a hate crimes bill measure that includes a list. The governor rejects arguments some of the bill's opponents make that a law is unnecessary because there are so few hate crimes reported.
About 3,500 hate crimes is not rare to me. Examples all over the state of Indiana. One's too many. This isn't a heavy lift.
Holcomb says lawmakers could pass a bill that mirrors a federal hate crimes law, which includes a victim characteristics list.
Is not vague. It's very specific. It would be asking every legislator to do nothing that's not already currently in place.
But Holcomb has done little publicly to push for such a law, beyond discussing it during his State of the State address 6 weeks ago. He now says he will be hyperactive on working for its passage before the legislative session ends in late April. But he says it's too soon to threaten to veto a bill that doesn't have a list included. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Tyler Lake.
And more than 20 CEOs and business leaders sent a letter to Republican leaders calling the bill without the list unacceptable, unenforceable, and harmful to the state's economy. They urge lawmakers to send a message that Indiana is welcome to all and open for business. The Indiana House approved the 2-year budget bill this week along party lines. Republicans say the spending plan is financially responsible, pointing to a commitment to K-12 education and workforce development. But Democrats say the bill does little to tackle poverty and provide help for seniors. The budget projects to spend more than $34.5 billion over the next 2 years. The measure is now in the hands of the Senate Republican caucus, which will release its proposal in the coming weeks. A historic gaming bill easily passed out of the state Senate this week. The bill allows a Gary casino to move to a more desirable place in the city and open the door to a new casino in Terre Haute. The bill would also give casinos more free play vouchers and to let racetrack casinos install live dealers for their table games. The measure also legalizes sports wagering, including online. The bill passed 38-11. Now, some senators balked at the potential negative impact on casinos in their communities. State Superintendent Jennifer McCormick says teacher pay is one of the main contributors to Indiana's low teacher retention rate. McCormick was in Bloomington this week for a community discussion.
This should alarm you. 35% of our teachers are leaving between years 1 and 5. 35%. And I know our College of Ed folks are in here, but the pipeline is not going to keep up with that.
House Republicans are proposing a biennial budget with modest funding increases for schools, as well as some additional dollars they say should go to educators. But advocates say it still isn't enough for meaningful boosts to teacher pay. Indiana University School of Education Assistant Dean Jill Shedd says challenges for teachers are increasing, but she appreciates McCormick's work as an advocate.
All of us have to use our voice, and we have to tell our stories, and we have to share our commitment to our kids in the state of Indiana.
McCormick addressed declining student enrollment as well as school safety. When asked her stance on arming all teachers, she says she remains firmly against the idea. She says although safety remains a major priority, improvements to social and emotional learning must be part of the conversation. And speaking of that, hundreds of school professionals met in Bloomington this week to focus on how they educate children, including their emotional and social needs. And organizers say the efforts could help Indiana make progress on key education issues. Experts say focusing on a child's full set of needs can help prevent teacher burnout while improving life outcomes for students.
So there's a lot of research out there that shows that when children are socially, emotionally healthy, that they do better academically. That, testing doesn't achieve it, that changing curriculum doesn't achieve it.
But for teachers to get that support, schools need more funding. Lawmakers are focusing more on mental and social emotional learning in schools as they work through school safety measures. The Senate approved a school safety bill earlier this week that largely focuses on getting more mental health programs in schools. A judge says current conditions at the Vigo County Jail violate both the 8th and 14th Amendments to the Constitution. The ruling issued yesterday lays out what the county has to do to address the issues outlined in an ongoing lawsuit. Among them, the county has to submit regular updates on the progress of a new jail and when it will open. The judge says the inmates' attorneys have a right to monitor the progress and are also entitled to daily jail population reports and incident reports. The county is in the process of selecting a site to construct a new jail. The Vigo County Council could decide that location at its meeting this month. Court documents say Martinsville police chief used his computer to bank more sick days than he was entitled to and cashed them out for more than $1,500. A state audit also shows Matthew Long received nearly $6,800 in unearned overtime pay. Police arrested Long this week on charges of theft and official misconduct. His attorney released a statement saying Long denies the allegations. A record 9.4 million passengers flew out of the Indianapolis International Airport last year, which is over 500,000 more than in 2017. Officials say West Coast connections are part of that growth, with both flights and seat capacity up from 45% the previous year.
5 years ago, we had one nonstop to California. Now we've covered California in its entirety, even up all the way up to Seattle, way past California. So that gives a nice connection to our tech sector here in Indiana.
He also said international flights jumped 28% last year, and international passenger traffic increased by 77%, or more than 60,000 international passengers. Total flights grew by 4% in 2018. New nonstop routes to Paris, South Carolina, California, and Florida started last year. Well, the speed limit is about to go up on some stretches of Indiana highways. Right now, it's 55 miles per hour on I-65 passing through Sellersburg. The state is raising that to 70 down to the I-265 interchange. South of that, speed limits will go up to 60 miles per hour. Roads and fields near Lake Monroe are flooded. It started last week, but officials couldn't release any of the water because of flooding downstream, caused by the White River overflowing its banks. Roads and property near Lake Monroe are covered with several inches of water. This week, the lake reached more than 15 feet above normal levels. Shannon Phelps says nearby residents have been calling his office, asking why they can't release any water to ease the flooding.
If we release water too early, places that are experiencing high water downstream, we will increase that. We try to limit that. That's what the lake was put in, to stop flooding downstream. Specifically around Bedford and Shoals, where the White River is flooded outside its boundaries. The Army Corps gave the okay for Phelps to begin releasing some water from the lake earlier this week because the White River is starting to recede. It's not a fast process, though. Phelps says levels will drop about 2 to 3 inches a day. It is unusual for the lake to get this high so early in the year. It's typically not an issue until April or May. And we're really fortunate to be able to start releasing now, because it was getting to the point where if we couldn't release real soon, we were going to be running into that time frame where we normally get that water, and on top of what we got now, it would not have been a pleasant thing to have. Phelps says they plan to continue releasing water until there's a lot of rain that raises the White River again. He's hopeful that's at least several weeks away. Well, a Kokomo man is opening an exotic animal rescue and sanctuary in his home. Elijah Church says it all started when he took in an 8-foot red-tailed boa constrictor. After that, he says he was flooded with calls about more animals in need of a home. Now Church is housing several species of animals in his home and is trying to raise money to buy a building that will be open to the public.
It's going to be a place to have unique events at, that you can come out and you'll be able to see everything. It'll be a complete interactive zoo that will have tours that you go through. You get to handle everything, photo sessions and stuff. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Church says he secured all the permits to open the business, and he's applied to become a 501c3 nonprofit. His business currently relies on donations, but Church says nonprofit status would make grant funding available. I think I'll stick with my cats. That's a lot of animals.
Barbara, thank you very much. The items were all from Don Miller's collection. The FBI, acting on a tip, raided his Shelby County property in 2014. They found more than 42,000 artifacts from around the world, everything from shrunken heads to Native American human remains.
During a ceremony at the Adel-Drug Museum in Indianapolis, U.S. and Chinese officials praised the return of artifacts to their rightful owners as a diplomatic achievement.
And this is fantastic, right? This is why we do these things. Now, cultural property is different. We're not talking about TVs and cars, right? This is cultural heritage. This is people's identity. It has meaning, not only for the Chinese people, but it has meaning for Americans as well.
Federal agents emphasized the importance of putting an end to the trafficking of stolen goods, which is a federal crime. Following the 2014 raid, the FBI said that Don Miller may have knowingly and unknowingly collected artifacts in violation of several treaties and federal and state statutes. When he passed away in 2015, he didn't leave any record of the artifacts' origins. The FBI says it's still working to return thousands of artifacts to their rightful owners.
I mean, it's a very painstaking, time-consuming process. We have to do our work, right? We have to do the homework on these pieces. It involves collaboration with lots of partners, as you can see here today. This is not just an FBI effort.
Several thousands of pieces are still in the process of being identified and repatriated. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Sean Hogan.
The National Maple Syrup Festival is coming back this weekend to Brown County. The event features syrup production, demonstrations, local vendors, and all-you-can-eat pancakes. When he founded the festival, Tim Burton didn't think it would be a national event.
Just for the heck of it, I Googled National Maple Syrup Festival, and would you believe it? There was no National Maple Syrup Festival. So we thought, well, let's go big and let's do this. So we trademarked the name.
Maple syrup often isn't the first product that comes to mind when people think of Indiana, but Burton says the Hoosier State is in fact the farthest southwest producer in the world. The festival kicks off this weekend. And that's the end of this program, but our work continues online as we cover the news throughout the week at WTIUnews.org. Have a great weekend.
Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Smithville, fiber internet, streaming TV, home security, and automation in southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Maller-Grodner Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis, lawmg.com. The IU School of Education, preparing teachers, scholars, and administrators to improve teaching in Indiana and around the world. education.indiana.edu. IU Alumni Association, connecting IU's network of alumni and sharing the Indiana spirit through scholarships, advocacy, and volunteerism. alumni.iu.edu. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnership with communities and organizations. rural.indiana.edu. And by WTIU members, thank you.